Hello everyone, welcome to Thrifting After Work, and today we are talking about what you need to do and what you need to avoid to get good, positive reviews or feedback for your business. Now, before we get started, if everybody could just do me a quick favor, just drop a like on the video. Click that button right here. What that does is it lets YouTube know that I'm doing okay over here and will also help share this video so others can see it and enjoy it as well. If you're returning to my channel, thank you so much for coming to check out another video. If you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. It'll help me out a lot and it would let you know when I post new and exciting content. So before we talk about reviews and feedback, I do have a couple things from my small business that I need to get sent out. So we're gonna do that real quick. Follow along. So to give you a little bit of my background, before my current job and my reselling hobby, I spent 15 years working in customer service positions and leadership roles from Disneyland to luxury hotels on the Las Vegas Strip. Most of what I did was customer interactions, guest experience, and handling both positive and negative feedback. And in that 15 years, I estimate that I've had at minimum 50,000 customer service interactions. Needless to say, I've seen a lot and I've heard a lot. So I wanted to take that experience and transition it into the business world now with me starting a small hobby business of reselling. And I'm going to start with a little bit of an eye-opener and a little bit of a controversial statement. And that is, no one and no business is entitled to positive feedback or reviews. We're allowed to think that we deserve them, but to feel entitled to them is just wrong. Reviews, both positive and negative, are the customer's way of expressing how they feel. While those feelings can be helpful for us and how we run our business and how our reputation can grow, the customer has no obligation to give us that feedback. Once the transaction is over, it is over. Goods or services were provided or extended and money changed hands. That is it. So if we want positive feedback, we need to take a couple extra measures to make sure that the customer is satisfied enough and is aware enough to give us that feedback. All right, so let's talk about how not to get positive feedback and some general rules of thumb. Number one, don't solicit positive reviews or feedback prior to the transaction. If you're selling something or providing a service, asking for it ahead of time is just not the way to go. And similarly, number two is do not make positive feedback or reviews a condition of the transaction. Those two items alone are just general rules of thumb to stay away from. Now, the other main way to not get a positive review or feedback is just to have bad business practices, bad communication, negative communication, not having your descriptions correct, not doing what you promised, being late, having all those things that is going to turn away a buyer or turn somebody away from whatever service you're providing. If you're selling an item, having that item not be as described, having the item not show up when it's supposed to, some of those things are out of our hands depending on shipping. But as a general rule, those are the things we are in control of and can make sure that we're doing on time. On the flip side, let's say you're making scarves on Etsy and a buyer asks for a blue scarf and you send them a purple scarf. That is a bad business practice. Either there was a mistake made, the description was incorrect, or there was just a lack of care when making the item. All of those things will not give you a positive review. So right now, most of you are probably thinking, David, those things are common sense. That's how I run my business anyway. I would never do anything like that, or at least do it on purpose. And you're right, for a lot of us, those are common sense items, but it's still worth mentioning for somebody that's maybe new or getting into starting a business or is new to customer interactions. So now let's talk about how to get positive reviews and feedback. And I think it's good to start with an understanding of why a customer would do that. Why are they going to go out of their way to leave feedback? Some will do it just because. Some will do it because they're aware of the platform or aware of how reviews can help sellers or business owners. But most of the time, people will write reviews or feedback when their expectations are exceeded. Now, it's been said a lot that the customer is always right. And having provided customer service for over 15 years, I will tell you that that is not correct. Customers feel that they're always right, and understanding their expectations is a very important step to take. a step that is often missed by people who are inexperienced, unaware, or generally have not been trained on how to think through the transaction process. So I'm going to take a quick moment right now to set the record straight on expectations. From a customer standpoint, a transaction going 100% smooth, them getting exactly what they asked for, when they asked for it, for what they asked it for, is a base level of expectation. If all of those things happen, their base expectation has now been met. See, we have to remember that if we do everything we said we were going to do when we were going to do it for the customer, all the customer thinks is, yes, this is exactly what I expected. So the number one way to get positive feedback or reviews is to earn it by exceeding expectations. Now that's easier said than done, but the easiest way to do it is to underpromise and overdeliver. Don't sell yourself or your product short, but make sure that you're providing very good details on what you're giving, set realistic goals and expectations on either completion or delivery, and do everything you can to exceed that. If you're selling something and you offer 3-day handling time, do it in 1. If it's $1 more for priority shipping, pay the extra $1. Even just an extra bit of communication can go a long way. Thanking somebody for their purchase or their business, sending them a note, doing all those things are really, really important. You notice when I was packing up the item, part of what I do is for all the items I sell, I put a handwritten thank you note, thanking the customer for buying from me. If I have the time, I'll message them on eBay after I've printed the shipping label, letting them know, hey, this has been taken care of. It's going to be shipped out tomorrow morning. Even though the tracking is automatically updated and they're now aware that I've started the process, just sending a message is more than what a different seller might do, which then exceeds the expectation. And the other really, really good way to get positive feedback is to ask for it. And I know that's counterintuitive because I told you before, don't ask for it. But that's before. Ask after. Let them know that if you're satisfied, a positive review or feedback is greatly appreciated. Especially if you're new or growing your business. If you pause the video on my note, at the bottom it says, I'm a relatively new eBay seller, and the positive feedback goes a long way to help grow my reputation. There's nothing wrong with honesty and letting the customer know that positive feedback is appreciated if they're satisfied. Again, wanting to make sure that they're satisfied goes along with that expectation. And using words like satisfied and thank you, letting them know it would mean a lot to me, might go around the fact that maybe their expectations weren't exceeded. Maybe we just met their base level of expectation. And without asking for it, they might not have taken the time to go forward and provide that feedback. And the last bit of communication, if you can respond to feedback, absolutely do. Depending on your size, if you're able to respond to every piece of feedback and review that you get, both positive and especially negative. All right, guys, so I hope today's video was helpful, and I hope you take away something from this that maybe you didn't think about before, or maybe it was a good refresher if you've already aware of all the information I provided. Thanks again for watching. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed it, drop a like on the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot.